So I'm doing a lot of analysis of the video by Ethan. I don't know his last name. Who was the abusive husband of Save a Fox founder and prodigious activist Michaela Raines. And he even used the same language that Bobby Jr. and or his shills with the New York not so independent investigation. Though I do believe Governor Hochul's heart was in the right place and she did what she did. She couldn't know any better. We didn't have secure comms. So I hope, and not that it didn't work out. I mean, if you had established secure comms, I would have kept putting on the same front that I did and kept baiting Bobby Jr., but at least you all would have known what was going on, so you weren't making the same mistakes and letting him set you up to take the fall. And plus, I'm sure Bobby thought for whatever reason that because you guys were progressives, and I don't know if Bernie endorsed any of you or not, he probably thought that I would never ever make any accusations against you all here in Burlington, either Mulvaney, Stanek, or Sarah George. He thought that I would fall under some cultist spell. And anyway, my point of this video is Ethan mentioned, he said that Michaela was hyper-focused. That's horseshit. She was passionate. Something that these rich pricks like Bobby Jr. would never understand because they're so full of fucking privilege. You can't have privilege and passion. They just don't go together. Matter of fact, if you've got privilege, there's no way you can have passion. Your passion is all about you and for yourself and what you want. And anybody who doesn't suck your dick, either literally or figuratively, stroke your ego and worship at your altar, they're the bad guy. That's why he pivoted to this, well, I'm going to make the best deal that's going to save the children. He was trying to triangulate and make it look like anybody who didn't roll with him was putting children in jeopardy. That was definitely out of his father and uncle's playbook, that anybody who didn't agree with the Kennedys was slandering the Martin Luther King and civil rights legacy. You're against civil rights if you're against the Kennedys. So that's that manipulation. But anyway, Ethan used the term hyper-focused the same way Bobby had a friend of mine use the term hyper-focused to describe herself as ADHD. No, you're not hyper-focused. You're passionate about something. And that's something his rich, white, privileged ass will never fucking comprehend. The only thing he's passionate about is his goddamn self. And there was a couple of videos, I'm not going to mention which ones they are, where Bobby really revealed his true evil self. And I'm not going to mention them because I don't want him scrubbing them. But how much you want to bet a bunch of those videos where Ethan's pissing and moaning about the smell. So he's here, oh, she was bullied about stinking because the foxes stink. Well, if you're talking shit about all the time on video, recording yourself pissing and moaning about the smell and bitching about the smell, you're reinforcing those bullies. But those bullies are going to roll off her like water off a duck's back. You're her fucking husband. So, yeah, she's going to take that to heart. So that right there to me is domestic violence. It's subtle, but that's what it is. He knows he sat right there and said she was super sensitive and she was very, all this and all that. But he didn't say she was passionate. He said she was hyper-focused, like it was a disorder of autism. No. We get passionate about something, and because we're not distracted by social shit, and we're not, as Temple Grandin says, social yakety yaks, we don't care about fitting in with others and having the social status or money. we're not distracted. So you look at it as hyper focused. No, we're passionate and we're doing what we want to do. You social yakety yaks who are too busy trying to depress everybody around you, you're idiots. You're distracted. We're not hyper focused. You're distracted. Easily distracted and intimidated and whatever else you might want to call it. So when I'm making these references about how Bobby just basically incriminated himself by Bobby and BlackRock and whoever else, all his Hollywood people just incriminated themselves via Ethan's rant about her being hyper-focused the same way he tried to insinuate through a friend of mine that I was hyper-focused. No shade to her, wasn't her fault. She was just following what she thought was a good order. Shit, she's just a kid. To me, anyway, I'm 55, so that's not her fault. She meant no harm. That's just basically that's a tell. They told on themselves when they had her say that to me, and then they had Ethan say that. So R.F. King Jr. is now, and the way he's talking all this eugenic shit about autism and gaslighting in the new book, nobody would ever accuse him of doing a smear campaign on persons with autism. So, lock them all up. Of course, Ethan's not really involved in racketeering, but he sure was trying. He's sure going to try. Especially since that's a tax-exempt nonprofit. So he's probably working on all kinds of back alley deals where he's going to be, working in the studios and, oh man, nail that motherfucker to the wall. Please. Please. And let me tell you, the way her death has had such an effect on everybody, you're going to basically have a whole lot of support from everybody who loved her and knew that she was the real deal. She inspired all of us. And they're going to remember. If they watched her videos as religiously as I did, they're going to remember all those snide remarks he made about it, the smell. And it probably was bad, but if you know it's hurtful to somebody, why say it, especially when you're supposed to be their husband? He fell in love with her because she's gorgeous. Men are stimulated by sight. And then once the honeymoon was over, well, like any mobster, gangster who kills somebody would say, nothing personal, it's just business. He made a business decision. He probably does miss her. I mean, if you look at her on the video, she's absolutely drop dead gorgeous and smart and beautiful. But in real life, she was passionate about her animals and her daughter and taking care of them, and that means you make personal sacrifice. That means, I know I smell. Of course, if I had a hotel, I'd be smelling a whole lot less. I am going to go ahead and splurge for this month I'm going to get my state ID for the state of Vermont, and I'm going to get a membership to Planet Fitness. And I'm going to get the one where I can use any Planet Fitness so I can go out to Essex. So if they start sending people in there to fuck with me, I will call Essex PD. So that's all I've got for now. But yeah, it looks like Michaela Raines was murdered. And Ethan made a back alley deal with BlackRock, and they reached out to him they probably knew him well enough to know that he was a Star Wars fanatic, and that would be the way to hook him. And since he was already guilty of some form of domestic violence and the honeymoon was over, he got himself a quickie divorce and a whole lot of sympathy. Now, the money he's raising, that all has to go to the charity. That has to go to Fox's. That can't go for his criminal defense. But how much you want to bet the Agna